Hey guys, Rory here from Your Golf Travel. Any of you who've got a keen eye on this channel and that of Mark Crossfield will know the name Sophie Walker. Sophie is an ex-LET player. She now does a bit of coaching and a bit of media work for people like Sky Sports. Mad keen on her golf, and as an elite amateur and of course as a pro as well, she's played an absolute ton of golf up in Scotland. Coincidentally, mine and Sophie's friendship started at the home of golf, so we're going to catch up with her on a little chat right now and pick her brains about her favourite Scottish golf experiences. Hi Sophie, nice to see you. It's been a while. I can't even remember the last time I saw you. It might have been at the Grove about 2 or 3 years ago.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it? I don't think I've seen many people in the last 18 months, but I feel like we saw loads of each other, didn't we, for about 3 years ago, played lots of golf together. And then the world got in the way. I've seen you, I saw you at the Masters, just a quick name drop there, but I can't remember if that was the last time.
Yeah, that could have been. But I mean, the first time we met, Turnberry in Scotland, I guess, did you have any idea what you were letting yourself in for on that trip?
I soon did, when it was a 30-mile-an-hour wind into and you nearly put one up your left nostril.
Ouch. So as well as obviously the conditions we played in, we prepared for Mark Crossfield and Coach Lockey and the craziness of what we actually get up to on camera.
Well, I feel like Mark's channels were clearly established, but this was, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So I wasn't a big YouTube watcher, and got a call from your Golf Travel saying, what do you reckon to this trip, Turnberry? And I was playing in the Open that year, remember? And I think somebody described it as, it'll be good preparation for the Open. So I'd never played Turnberry. So I'm like, okay then. So kind of up I went. And yeah, an interesting preparation for the Open. But it was cool, wasn't it? We played both of the golf courses, which actually going up there, I didn't know there was even 2 golf courses there. And as much as I've been to Scotland, I felt like Trump Turnberry was more of a resort. Mm-hmm. It had the whole package, didn't it? The hotel was amazing. The one thing I do remember was the breakfast.
Yeah,
like
it's
looking
insane.
out over the golf course and then the mini golf course and the smoked salmon. I was just like, oh, this is me.
Yeah, well, I'm well known on the videos for not really making it to many of the breakfasts, but I do turn up to the breakfast at Turnberry each time. But it's interesting, obviously, like you say, we played or met there, 5, maybe 6 years ago. I can't remember the exact year. And like you say, we played Ailsa. You were playing the Women's Open there later that year. So it was good for you to get a look at the golf course. And also played Kintyre, it was called at the time. And I believe you've since been back because obviously big changes happened in, I think, late 2015. And now it's still very much the same offering. Like you say, it's still a resort, 2 golf courses on site, roll out of bed onto the first tee kind of thing. But it is pretty different to what it was when we first went there.
Yeah, I would like to say it is a resort, but it's a relaxed feeling of it.
Yep.
The food is still really good. I know sometimes at resorts, like the golf course is great, but the food's let me down a bit, but not here. I remember I ventured to the gym when I was with you boys and got laughed at. So the gym is very much improved if anybody is into that.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, so's the spa facilities. But the golf course has changed so that the signature holes around the water, you almost used to play away from the lighthouse.
Yeah.
And now you play towards it. So there's a great par 3 with water rocks all the way down the left and the lighthouse on the left-hand side. And that lighthouse is now a halfway house and you can stay there as well.
Yeah.
but
Shudder
it's
to think what it might cost to stay in there, but it
yeah,
would be a pretty awesome place to go.
I have no idea how much it is to stay there, but the halfway is so unique, and it's just they do it so well. They still keep that Scottish feel to it, but then it's excellency as well.
Yeah, I mean, I get my impression of those changes that they made to those holes were that the location was always absolutely incredible, but the actual holes themselves, maybe barring the 10th, because that was still a great hole back in the day, but I think they've realised the full potential of that little corner of the golf course. So, like you say, the par 3 9th, followed by the 10th, which I think is more spectacular now than it was, because they pushed the green kind of further back and further towards the water. And then that par 3 11th, that little stretch, 353, is spectacular now. I mean, it was always spectacular.
It's a really good golf course. Yeah, like to play, it's well laid out. But would there have been a memorable hole on it? Maybe not. You'd come off and go, oh, that was a great course. But there wasn't that Instagram moment, where you got your phone out, and now definitely you've got that.
And what was it? So what was it like after having put up with 3 absolute lunatics, one of whom can't play golf to save his life, heading from that to actually go and play there at the Women's British Open? That must have been a pretty special experience.
Yeah, it was. I'd like to say you inspired me to qualify, you guys. But yeah, I mean, totally, pretty similar. You strike the ball like Lexi Thompson, don't you? Mark probably talks as much as Christy Kerr. So yeah, it was, and yeah, Lockey. Well, we didn't see Lockey much, did we? He was a bit left and right. So it was
that was the trip that was the trip you coined the phrase, "Is he even a pro?" Which he's still not lived that down today. So
yeah, I'd like to think that our preparation for the Open was slightly better than rocking out of bed, not going to the range and walking straight to the first tee. But that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's not it's necessarily about taking it too seriously on these golf trips.
Exactly, yeah. I think if you do take it too seriously, you stand a reasonable chance of maybe not enjoying it as much as you should do. But so, I mean, obviously your experience of playing golf in Scotland started a long time before you met me. I hadn't done a huge amount of it before we met at Turnberry, and I've not done a huge amount of it since, regrettably. But with you playing like elite level amateur golf, you must have played plenty up there as a kid and into your late teens, I guess.
Yeah, you get so spoiled as an amateur. You get to play all the good ones, and then you turn pro and they stick you on some resort course and you're like, what? So yeah, we had the St Rule at St Andrews old course. We had the Helen Home at Troon. I actually made a lot of my debuts for England up there. So Cruden Bay, where I played for the English national team there. So it holds a lot of memories for me. I remember as a kid, we had a week in St Andrews. So there were 6 of us in a team, and England Golf gave us $5,000 for the week to, just to go up to Scotland and have the best time.
Spending money.
So spending money to the point that we enjoyed ourselves that much in St Andrews that by the last night we were having fish and chips on the wall because we'd spent all our money. So there's a great Indian restaurant in St Andrews. We went there a fair amount, and Marbell's at the back of 18. So as much as the golf, do you know what I love about St Andrews? And I know everybody says, oh yeah, it's the golf course and everything, but when you're a youngster going up there, where I'm from, golf wasn't, it was a 15, 16-year-old. I wouldn't say it was a normal thing to do, but up there it really is. So I remember still to this day, there was a lad getting on the bus with his golf clubs, and people were walking around the town in golf shoes. And I thought, oh, that's kind of what I want to do. That's what I feel really comfortable doing. It was the only place that I thought I'd fit in here.
I'm finally home.
Yeah. So, you'd like it, Rory. You come out the pub and there's a golf shop next door. So it's just like the ideal place to be. But yeah, I was really fortunate to play so many different ones. Like even in St Andrews, there's a lovely course called Crail Golf Club, which is one of the oldest ones there. I played that in England schools and met one of my best friends. She played for Scotland at the time, Claire Queen. So we met there. So a lot of friendships up there. But I absolutely love Scotland. And being a proud English girl, it pains me to say it sometimes, but I always go up there and think this is the best place on earth when the sun shines.
Yeah.
So you always have the weather to compete with. But then I've played Gullen in torrential rain to the point that the guy I was playing with, his waterproofs, you know, when you put them in the wash and they start sudding, you know, like they don't wash them properly. So we're stood on, I think it's the par 3 17th, and it's rained all day. And he's just got suds coming out of his waterproofs. So yeah, you can still enjoy it in rain. And actually, Gullen Golf Club, amazing club sandwich. So just remember that, everybody.
Insider's knowledge. So you mentioned St Andrews, obviously, and obviously the old course is the marquee name. But actually, it's interesting to hear you kind of mentioned the old course, but everything else that you've talked about is the atmosphere. The vibe of the place, the fact that like we always write something like golf seeps out of every pore kind of thing, but there are also just so many other golf courses in St Andrews. It's not just all about the old course, is it?
No, it's not. There's the new course, which, I mean, it's not that new, it's still hundreds of years old. I really like the new course. I played my first Open Championship at St Andrews Old and qualified there at the new course, and I was supposed to have my mate caddying for me, and he was so excited because I qualified. And then I had to ring him up and say I'm going to take the local caddy, because he was so good around the new course that I couldn't give him up for the old. And then we used to go and play the Jubilee, the Duke's course, which has got some trees on it, and is it the Castle course? That's fantastic. That's really good views back into St Andrews. It's more of an American design. It's bigger, it's wider, and the greens are massive with huge undulations on.
Yeah, I've seen some photos of the greens at the Castle course, and there's a few 4-putts for me waiting out there, I think.
Oh, do it. I tried to do it with a card in my hand. It's not fun, Rory. But yeah, I think there's, I don't know, is there 7 or 8? There's loads of them.
Yeah, I think there's 7 on the St Andrews Links Trust, and then obviously, like you say, you've got loads of other courses. You've got Carnoustie down the road. Have you done Carnoustie?
No, I haven't. That's one for the bucket list. I haven't done Carnoustie or Muirfield on the open rota, so that's the one. But the 2 that I need to do. Interesting.
So those would be, well, Carnoustie, we're talking about obviously that St Andrews area. You've got Kings Barnes as well. Have you played there?
Yeah, we've had opens there. Do you know what? That's a great course because it's wide off the tee.
Lovely.
So I still think, yeah, you'll like that one. But you get in play, and then you don't want to play a course that you're struggling to get off the tee with. So Kings Barnes is wide off the tee, and then kind of gets better and better as you get closer to the greens.
Excellent. And obviously, yeah, I mean, I think it'd be fair to say that St Andrews would be pretty high up on most people's bucket list when they start thinking of golf in Scotland. But for a relatively small country or a small patch of land, let's say, they've got over 550 golf courses. So moving slightly away from St Andrews, we've obviously talked about Turnberry, which is over on the west coast. You've actually got a holiday booked there this year, haven't you, over to the west coast? Not to Turnberry, but...
No, me and my girlfriend are going. So it'll be Sarah Stirk, Naga Munchetti and Georgia Bingham. So we all met through golf, actually, so it just shows you that mates, that's how you find your friends, isn't it? And I think most of us met at the Scottish Open. So the Scottish Open's known for its really good pro-ams in the men's and the women's. So that's how we all met, through the Scottish Open. And are quite competitive. 2 of us went to Loughborough University, 2 of us went to Leeds University. So we went on a pro-am holiday a couple of years ago, and now this year we're going to the west coast. So we're going Dundonald Links, which was host to the Scottish Open, and we're going to try and get on Troon and Prestwich, because, for instance, Sarah, she worked the Women's British Open last year, but she never gets to play it. So she's like, oh, Troon looks good. Have you ever played Troon? So she was probably up there for a week and never actually got to hit a ball on the golf course. They're all really close together as well, which is handy. And Troon is so cool. But the places, there's some really nice fish restaurants that, like, I'm a bit of a foodie, Rory, and like a glass or 2 of wine and beer. So I need to make sure that après golf is high on the priority list.
That's fair. Well, maybe we should go away and film more often together, because when I go away with the lads, they're more salty chips, burgers, and bed kind of thing. So, yeah, I like my food as well. So
Yeah.
I don't often get a chance to actually go and
Really, yeah,
explore
there's
nice
some really
restaurants.
good fish restaurants in Troon, like on the harbour in Troon. And I used to go there as a kid. So when the Helen Home was there, which is the Scottish stroke play for amateurs, me and Mel Reid would just go into these fish restaurants and basically order the world. And then obviously you're sat with your mum and dad, and they're like, langoustines? Sorry. Oh yeah, I'm not having fish and chips today.
So you mentioned you obviously met Sarah, Naga, and Georgie at the Highlands Pro-Am. What I don't know much about the event, so talk us through it.
Yeah. Oh no, we'd met before. Never go into
Oh,
competition with people that you've never met, Rory. You
okay,
should
so
know
that's
that.
yeah. So that was okay. That was your first proper little, let's
Yeah,
say,
that was
golf
our
tour
first.
together.
Yes, it was. It was our first golf tour together. So Castle Stewart is, I think, is Naga's favourite place in the world. Definitely favourite golf course. She absolutely loves it. So I think through newsletters, she'd seen that this was available. And I played Nairn at the British Stroke Play and got the course record there. So I was like, oh yeah, that's fine. I want to do that. Yeah. Actually had the shanks on the practice ground before I went out to shoot 66 or something. But anyway.
Just shows you what a
So
crazy
and
game
then the
golf is
next
then.
one.
If you're
Yeah, it
shanking it
does.
on the
In fact,
range and you go and shoot a course record.
yeah, my mate looked at me and was like, "Are you all right?" I was like, "No." And the first at Nairn, there's a beach down the right hand side, but luckily it's not out of bounds. So if the tide is out, you can play it. Which I'm sure Georgie won't appreciate me saying. She had a visit to the beach. Yeah, so it's Royal Dornoch, which was another bucket list one for me. I hadn't done that. I'm quite like that. I like to play. I want to play all the top courses if I can, or recommendations. So it was Nairn, Dornoch, and Castle Stewart. 1 pro, 3 AMs, 2 scores to count, and the pros counted individually as well. And you just move around. I think we stayed in Inverness, so there was a bit of a drive to Dornoch, but the other 2 were right on our doorstep. But what was cool is I live in Manchester. I flew up, I landed at 3 o'clock at Inverness and was on the golf course at like 3:30 having a practice round at Castle Stewart. That's how close it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's beautiful. I can, when you play high level golf, you struggle to take in all everything. So I was up in then for maybe a week, but never appreciated it. So it's almost like now I feel like I've got to go back to these golf courses and places to appreciate the, well, tunnel vision kind of goes out the window.
Yeah.
So that was good. We had a really nice time, and I think that's what's good about golf holidays. You're spending time together, but it doesn't have to be intense, does it? Because on the golf course, you're not. It's not like going for a coffee with your mate for 4 hours or a beer and it's just full on intense conversation. We just had a laugh. There's a little bit of competition in there as well, but we enjoyed it. And that's something that we actually want to do a bit more of, a little bit of competition holidays.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's interesting that you've done this trip, because I did another video a few days ago where I talked about what would be top of my bucket list for Scotland. And actually I steered clear of St Andrews. Obviously I'm not saying I don't want to go there, I definitely do, but if I had
they're
to
listening.
yeah, if I had to put a 3-round golf tour together, I actually picked the exact courses that you guys played on that trip. I had a couple of guys at the YGT office who did that trip as well about just about a year and a half ago, and they came back waxing lyrical. And obviously I've seen Castle Stewart on the TV lots, obviously hosted the Men's Scottish Open. I'm well aware of Royal Dornoch because of the history. And Nairn's one I didn't know a huge amount about, but just having seen photos and hearing people talk about it. So yeah, that would be my bucket list trip. And it's funny that that's the one you went on.
Yeah, they've had a bit of redesign as well at Nairn. So it's in really good shape. And there's 3 links courses, but they're all different. Nairn has a few more trees actually. But it's a nice trip where I think everyone would automatically assume you've got to go to an open venue when you're in Scotland, but it just shows you that those 3 courses, I would rank them in the top 100. Well, they probably are ranked in the top 100 in the world. And it's amazing that a country like that, some people think it is an afterthought, and you're like, definitely not.
Yeah.
These places are unbelievable.
Yeah. So we've obviously talked a lot of links golf. And that's kind of what you guys grow up playing in your amateur game, isn't it? There's a lot of links being played, and then interestingly, you like say you get on tour and links golf kind of goes out the window a little bit. Have you done any extensive stuff like on inland course in Scotland? Because I think that's one of the best things about it as a destination. Obviously, first and foremost, it's famous for links golf, but there's a huge variety, and I think if people head inland from the coast, they'll be pleasantly surprised at what they might find.
Yeah, you will. I mean, obviously the famous one is Glen Eagles, and the Solheim Cup was there last year, and the Ryder Cup. So there's plenty of history behind that one. But I played Blair Gowrie, which I think I wouldn't even say it's a hidden gem. It's an absolute gem of a golf course, Rosemount, when I was younger. In fact, it was the first time I got down to scratch. So obviously an amazing golf course.
Milestone moment.
Yeah, milestone moment. I played a couple in Dundee as well. Downfield, that was a good track. They sometimes use that, I think, for open qualifying for canoeing. So obviously quality in that sense. I wish I'd Loch Lomond. I think I've done Loch Lomond. I've done both of them, the Carrick and Loch Lomond. Is it just called Loch Lomond?
I think it's just called Loch Lomond.
Yeah, done that as well. I need to do more inland, but it's one of those things that I've only got so much time on my hands. So I think they're great just to like drive through, and then you go, oh, this is good, and then play there. But definitely Blair Gowrie was a bit heathlandy, which is one of my favourite types of golf courses. You know, the Sunningdale, the Berkshire type course. So yeah, Blair Gowrie, put that one down because that's worth a visit.
Yeah, I think I agree with heathlandy type golf, because you kind of get the almost linksy turf, but maybe not the weather that you might see out towards the coast.
Does that suit your divot taking? You don't want
exactly,
it too soft, do you, Rory?
If you watch the video that I most recently appeared on Mark's channel, then there was a lot of iron shots which only went about 20 feet because I hit the ground about 8 inches behind the ball. So
yeah, you need links turf, don't you? Or maybe a mat, Rory. Take a mat round.
That's good then. Yeah, so I could go up to Scotland in like the winter months where they're playing off mats to protect the courses.
You'd be brilliant. The mat champion of the world.
So yeah, I mean, obviously golf has, it's shaped quite a lot of your golfing life then. First place, getting to scratch. Kind of, was it your first foray into like golf media stuff really when you came out and played Turnberry with us?
Yeah, so if you think so, I mean, I could probably credit you guys for my Sky Sports and BBC appearances, definitely.
That's very kind.
No, but yeah, it when you think about it, yeah, there probably is a lot of milestones. First time I got down to scratch, first time I played for England schools, England girls, England women. My first Open was there. I should have won the Scottish Open. I suppose my best appearance on tour was there. I came second in the Scottish Open at Archerfield. My first on-course commentary was at the Scottish Open, the Ladies Scottish Open last year at Renaissance. So there is a lot of firsts, and I don't think there's any surprise to that because I think I love it. So it brings out the best in me.
So yeah, and there you go. So yeah, it's shaped your golfing life to a certain extent, and not surprising to hear that the trip that you've picked to head off on as soon as things are allowed in 2021 is back to Scotland again. So well, yeah, thank you very much for taking us on your kind of Scottish journey. It's definitely way more impressive than mine. It just makes me realize I need to kind of pull my finger out and make sure I get up there as often as I can, because there's just so much to do and see. And it's interesting to hear how much you talk about. Obviously, we've talked about golf courses, but lots of what you mentioned is actually away from the course and how much of a fun place it can be.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, it's really good. Just put in there, sorry, like when the Fringe Festival's on in Edinburgh in August, you'd really enjoy that because you can play kind of the Gullen area and the Muirfield area and then pop into Edinburgh for the Fringe Festival on the train. We used to do that a lot when we played the Scottish Open. at Archerfield. So I think that's normally in August. So if you want to laugh on and off the course, you'll be fine.
Yeah, all right. So if you want to laugh on the course, come away with me and watch. And if you want to laugh off the course, go to the Fringe Festival.
Yeah.
But it's interesting you mentioned that, because a lot of the trips I've been on, I'm guessing it's probably the same for you. It's amazing how accessible a lot of stuff is. Obviously, you've got lots of other smaller airports, but the main two would be Glasgow and Edinburgh. And obviously, you can get trains in and out there as well. But from those two bases, it's amazing how quickly you can get to all four corners.
It just feels like everything's an hour left or right, or an hour and a half, and then you've obviously got Inverness and Aberdeen for the ones further north as well.
Excellent. Yeah, well, I guess, like we said, that's the bonus of having 550 plus golf courses in a pretty tiny little country.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, thank you very much again for taking us through your Scottish journey. We will have to make sure that you and I get back on a golf course together, and maybe we'll do it in Scotland.
Yeah, it'd be great fun. I'd love to show you the sites, Rory.
Yeah, right. Before we go, which one golf course? Me and you are heading off on a trip before the end of the year. Which one course in Scotland are we playing? Be kind.
I'd really like to try the new one, the Dunbarney Links.
Yes, that's a good shout.
Yeah, I've heard the views are incredible, and golf courses as well. So yeah, let's try and pick a new one for me.
Cool, and that's in and around St Andrews as well, isn't it? So
I think it's South St Andrews. Yeah, it's maybe 20 minutes south of St Andrews. So it would, if you were going round the coast, it would go St Andrews, round to Kingsbarn, then round to the bottom. But you can just drive directly down to Dunbarny.
Might have to squeeze in Kingsbarns and a couple others while we're up there. But I'm going to jump onto your Golf Travel website now. I'm going to make a booking, Sophie. So I'll ping you an email when I'm done. Okay.
Brilliant. Do I get some free balls for my trip?
Well, I packed plenty, so hopefully I won't run out of them. But
thanks for watching my trip down memory lane with Rory. If you fancy going to the home of golf, make sure you check out Your Golf Travel.